The General Epistle of Barnabas. Chapter 14. Of the way of light, being a summary of what a Christian is to do, that he may be happy forever. And thus I trust I have declared to you as much, and with as great simplicity as I could, those things which provide for your salvation, so as not to have omitted anything that might be requisite thereunto. For should I speak farther of the things that now are, and of those that are to come, you would not yet understand them, seeing they lie in parables. This therefore shall suffice as to these things. Let us now go on to the other kind of knowledge and doctrine. There are two ways of doctrine and power, the one of light, the other of darkness. But there is a great deal of difference between these two ways, for over one are appointed the angels of God, the leaders of the way of light; over the other, the angels of Satan. And the one is the Lord from everlasting to everlasting, the other is the prince of the time of unrighteousness. Now the way of light is this: if any one desires to attain to the place that is appointed for him, and will hasten thither by his works, and the knowledge that has been given to us for walking into it, to this effect: thou shalt love him that made thee, thou shalt glorify him that hath redeemed thee from death, thou shalt be simple in heart, and rich in the spirit. Thou shalt not cleave to those that walk in the way of death. Thou shalt hate to do anything that is not pleasing unto God. Thou shalt abhor all dissimulation. Thou shalt not neglect any of the commands of the Lord. Thou shalt not exalt thyself, but shalt be humble. Thou shalt not take honor to thyself. Thou shalt not enter into any wicked counsel against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not be overconfident in thy heart. Thou shalt not commit fornication nor adultery, neither shalt thou corrupt thyself with mankind. Thou shalt not make use of the word of God to any impurity. Thou shalt not accept any man's person when thou reprovest any one's faults. Thou shalt be gentle. Thou shalt be quiet. Thou shalt tremble at the words which thou hast heard. Thou shalt not keep any hatred in thy heart against thy brother. Thou shalt not entertain any doubt, whether it shall be or not. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord in vain. Thou shalt love thy neighbor above thine own soul. Thou shalt not destroy thy conceptions before they are brought forth, nor kill them after they are born. Thou shalt not withdraw thy hand from thy son, or from thy daughter, but shalt teach them from their youth the fear of the Lord. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's goods, neither shalt thou be an extortioner. Neither shall thy heart be joined to proud men, but thou shalt be numbered among the righteous and the lowly. Whatever events shall happen unto thee, thou shalt receive them as good. Thou shalt not be double-minded or double-tongued, for a double tongue is the snare of death. Thou shalt be subject unto the Lord, and to inferior masters as to the representatives of God, in fear and reverence. Thou shalt not be bitter in thy commands toward any of thy servants that trust in God, lest thou chance not to fear him who is over both. Because he came not to call any with respect of persons, but whomsoever the Spirit had prepared. Thou shalt communicate to thy neighbor of all thou hast. Thou shalt not call anything thine own, for if ye partake of such things as are incorruptible, how much more should you do it in those that are corruptible? Thou shalt not be forward to speak, for the mouth is the snare of death. Strive for thy soul with all thy might. Reach not out thine hand to receive, and withhold it not when thou shouldest give. Thou shalt love as the apple of thine eye every one that speaketh unto thee the word of the Lord. Call to thy remembrance day and night the future judgment. Thou shalt seek out every day the persons of the righteous, and both consider and go about to exhort others by the word, and meditate how thou mayest save a soul. Thou shalt also labor with thy hands to give to the poor, that thy sins be forgiven thee. Thou shalt not deliberate whether thou shouldest give, nor, having given, murmur at it. Give to every one that asks, so shalt thou know who is the good rewarder of thy gifts. Keep what thou hast received. Thou shalt neither add to it nor take from it. Let the wicked be always thy aversion. Thou shalt judge with righteous judgment. Thou shalt never cause divisions, but shalt make peace between those that are at variance, and bring them together. Thou shalt confess thy sins, and not come to thy prayer with an evil conscience. This is the way of light.